Hi, this is Lou DeTurris, and I'm really excited to show you a new feature inside of WebFOCUS 938. And today, I'm going to walk through showing you how Data Migrator drives the data movement while delegating validation, standardization, and cleansing directly to the RBI data quality engine before the final load happens. So I'm going to log in, and I already have in a Summit 2026 folder my data file and my metadata. So I already created that. But I do want to show you how we've integrated Data Migrator and data quality, and we do that via RESTful calls. There's two out here. One of them is to get authentication against the data quality engine, so we get a bearer token for authorization. I'll test that out quick. All right, that's good. And then I'm going to test the other one quickly as well. I guess I'll show you the properties. It's calling out to a data quality server that's hosted in Google Cloud, and this is the API endpoint. So I'll test this as well, make sure it works. That's fantastic. I'm going to cancel this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and show you just some of the enhancements that we've done in regards to the different adapters that are available in Data Migrator. You know, we have over 100 plus adapters that are out here. Some of the areas we've made some major improvements recently has been in the cloud databases, the cloud endpoints. So for example, for cloud storage, Amazon S3, Azure Blob Storage, Google Cloud Storage. The file that I'll be working with today actually came to me from a partner via an S3 bucket. So we've also improved our Databricks adapter, Google BigQuery, Snowflake, Microsoft Fabric. So you'll see that we continually grow and improve our data adapters that are available within Data Migrator. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and I want to create a flow off of this data file. So here's my flow. Let's just start by doing sample data. That's always a good thing to know your data before you work on anything. And so we have a record ID, source system. We got some other things. Let's pick some columns that we want to work on. Email address is always fun. And we can see we have some interesting things going on with email addresses here. For example, there's no domain here. E-Haze, we got chevrons around this email address. So there's different things that I think we can improve upon when it comes to email. Socials, look at the socials. Some have dashes, some have don't. So I think I want to standardize the social. That makes a lot of sense to me. And primary phone. Okay, some have area codes without parentheses. Some have area codes with parentheses. Some have country codes. So I think what I want to do is get rid of the country codes, clean things up a little bit, and just, standardize the primary phone when I can. So let's go ahead, right click on my source, and again, which can be any of the sources that Data Migrator supports. In this case, we're going to set up our data cleansing here. So what happens now is we're making a dynamic call via the RESTful API over to the data quality server. And now I have this data cleansing rules mapping editor up. So we kind of picked some of the columns we wanted to deal with. So this list of rules is dynamic, and we're going to start with email. And you can see that there's a lot of rules here. So instead of searching up or down for the different rules, I'm going to go ahead and just type in the search bar up here, email. And luckily, I'm only offered two here, one using locate, one using a built-in rule directly. So I'm going to go, and I have a choice now on a data cleansing error. Do I want to see the rules default value, or do I want to see the original value? For my purposes, I like to see the original value. And what I'm going to do is add an additional column called tag category for email, so I know exactly what happened to that column. Okay. Social, let's do the same thing for social. SSN brings me down to 1, nice and easy. On data cleansing error, I would like to see the original value. And tag category, Again, let me know, valid, invalid, missing, empty, cleansed. I'd like to know that. And one more, phone, right? We talked about phone. So phone, you can see that I have multiple rules out here for phone. They look like they're for different countries, as well as international and local for USA. So I'm going to select local for USA. Again, I'm going to select my original value for my output and my tag category. Okay. So this is just, I'm selecting 3 rules that I want to have go across. Now you see that I have this little icon that showed up here. So I can either edit if I wanted to add more or change what I put in there. I could delete all of them in one shot, or I could run a quick test. So here's a quick test. Again, it only sends the columns that we have tagged for data quality over to the engine. It doesn't send the full row. It's kind of important to understand that in regards to performance. It's very quick. So if we look here, email, this one looks valid, this one's empty, valid, that's an invalid one, we know that. These were cleansed, so it got rid of that other name up front, as well as the chevrons, and looks like we did some good work down here as well. Socials look great. Everything is formatted the same way. This is how we expect to see a social security number, so that looks great. The ones that were cleansed were probably missing the dashes because most of that field was populated. Primary phone, you can see all of them now have parentheses. We don't have any country codes. The empty ones are still empty. It's not going to make up a value. Excuse me. So this is just a quick test on our data quality columns. So now I want to decide what columns do I want to send downstream. So by default, all the records, all the columns are included. However, my tag category is not my, for email, for social tag category, my primary phone tag category, they're not, but I'd like them to be. So I'm going to go ahead and add email. I'm going to add my social, and I'm going to add my phone, just double clicking on them. And you can see under email, I have this column. Under next to social, I have this column, and next to phone, I have this column. So we scroll across, sample output here. You can see that for email, I have my category, and I'd like to use this downstream in my data flow to direct data that's valid or cleansed in one direction, and valid and data that's bad, that maybe is invalid or empty in another direction. Okay. And I have 3 columns that I did some cleansing rules on, but I really only care about email and social for the purposes of this exercise. I'm not so worried about the primary phone. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and, so now if you take a look at the output, you see that we have, again, same thing for the emails. There's my valids, there's my socials looking good, and there's my primary phones. I'm going to add a target now. So I'm going to put a new target in there. And what I'd like to change about the target is I want to make sure it gets written to my Summit 2026 folder. It keeps it nice and neat for me. I like things neat. And for the synonym for my data file, because I want to do, like I mentioned, good data versus bad data, I want to make sure that my data file and my metadata reflect that. Okay. So that's good. And for my properties, I want to put a validation line in there so I can direct records that meet the criteria here. And I'll show you what that is. Let me type it out really quick. Look at those fingers go. So I have my validation on social security tag categories equal to valid or cleansed, and email tag category is equal to valid or cleansed. So that just means that that's a good record all around for the columns that I'm interested in. So I'm going to add another target now. Oops, did I not click on it? Okay, there we go. I guess you got to click it like you mean it. And here, I'm going to go in, look at my load options. And again, I want to make sure that I write everything to the same application directory. And now this metadata is actually for the bad file. And the flat file, that the resulting flat file, again, these are the bad records. And what do I mean by bad records? Well, if you give me a second to type it all out again, I'm going to go ahead and look at my properties, and I'm going to validate what I consider a bad record. I'm going to look at the SSN tag category not equal to valid or cleansed, or email tag category not equal to valid or cleansed. So if one of these are bad, it's going to go down the bad path. Okay, so there's a quick little run, but I'm going to save it, right? And I'm going to run it this way because I'd like to see the record amounts as I run it. So here's my flow, and I got the target coming in. I see 3,095 lines, and down here I could see that I have my good output, 2,203 lines, and I have my bad output at 892 lines. Okay, so let's kind of see what that really looks like. So I'm going to go over here, and I have to, whoops, let me go back to this directory, sorry, Summit 2026. And here is my data flows, data flow. There's my metadata for data, and here's my good and bad metadata for my good and bad output. So let's take a look at the bad first. So have a look at sample data, and again, I only looked at email and social in deciding what went to the bad here. So and it was an or. So either email's empty or invalid, or it's not equal to valid or cleansed is really the right way to say it. That's what I put in there. So social looks pretty good. Social, I think, had most of the, if not all the numbers there, and it just formatted them properly. But you got a lot of empty email addresses. So that's what caused my bad file to have by those 800 and something records. But if I look at the good data, you can see that in both cases, my email was either valid or cleansed, great, fantastic, or the social was cleansed or valid. So again, all of this looks standardized the same. And again, you can look at my phone numbers. That looks great as well, but I didn't put that into the filter. So, that didn't matter whether that was empty or not. We do have some empty records in regards to my phone number here. So this is what I wanted to show in my demo today. I hope you found this useful. It's very user-friendly. And as I mentioned, if there are any rules that you don't see inside of the data quality list that comes out of the box, you can create your own very easily in Python. So thank you for your time. Have a wonderful day.